Watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide, welcome, like, and subscribe. Give a thumbs up, support the show, and also think about becoming a Patreon supporter. Patreon.com/HouseSparks. There's the Venmo above my head if you want to support the show. There we go. All right. This is Alan Dershowitz, who famously got a massage arranged by Jeffrey Epstein, and his defense was, of course, that it was okay that she was underage because he left his underwear on. Now, this is him complaining, apparently, that this is the title of this is "They Canceled Me." It's cancel culture strikes again. They canceled me because I defended Trump's rights. That's why. That's why they don't like him. Is because he defended Trump, not because he defended Trump and he's fucking gross.
Former Trump White House trade advisor Peter Navarro has rejected a plea deal in his contempt of Congress case.
Good. He didn't get a letter from Trump, though, so he can't take one, I guess.
He's charged after refusing to testify or turn in documents to the partisan January 6th committee.
It's not partisan. Just because you refuse to play doesn't mean the game is uneven. If you don't show up, that is a choice by your side. It would have been equal 50-50 Democrats and Republicans if McCarthy had, beyond Kitzinger and Liz Cheney being on there, if McCarthy would have been willing to put people on who were not subject to a subpoena by the committee itself. He wouldn't let anybody else on.
Would have allowed Navarro to plead guilty to just one of his two contempt counts and would require him to comply with the committee's subpoena and serve 30 days in jail. Navarro has pleaded not guilty and faces up to a year in jail now.
It's nice.
He said in the past that he can't comply with the committee's subpoena because he's shielded by executive privilege from...
No, he isn't. The court has already ruled on that, and nobody buys it, and that's bullshit, and especially when it covers stuff that was after he left.
President Trump.
Or didn't pertain to his duties, or were involved in criminal activities. You're not shielded from help if you tried to help the president commit a crime.
Joining me now to break this all down is Professor Emeritus...
Who's apparently moving? Did somebody just come in and just like run their hand across the shelves? I remember college days. I didn't go to college, but I remember.
Harvard Law School.
Maybe I remember him because I didn't go.
Alan Dershowitz. He's also the author of The Price of Principle: Why Integrity is Worth the Consequences.
Of course, it's a pop-up book, and when you open it, I'm just saying, be careful. Hold on, I gotta move this and scale this up. Put this over here so you know who I am. Hi.
Alan Dershowitz, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
What is your reaction to Navarro's decision and the judge's questioning of the FBI's tactics here?
Well, it takes a lot of guts because if he's convicted, he'll obviously get a much longer term. But he's doing...
Why is that guts? If he's convicted, then he was guilty. It wasn't guts. It was idiocy.
The right thing. He's innocent.
No, he isn't.
Just like a journalist shouldn't comply with a subpoena, or a lawyer shouldn't comply with a subpoena unless the privilege has been waived. Navarro should not have complied.
There was no privilege. There was no privilege to be waived, and the current president does not offer privilege protection based on that. It doesn't work that way.
With a subpoena until and unless the president waived it. And what should have happened is...
Why would he waive it for Bannon and not for Navarro? Because Bannon has stuff he can blackmail Trump with, and he promises not to show it to the committee or to anybody else if Trump wrote him a letter to cover his ass. Navarro wasn't worth it.
Congress should have gone to a judge, and there should have been a hearing. And only if a judge orders him to comply and he doesn't, then he can be held in contempt. They have it all backwards. And the way he was treated, the way he was arrested, even the judges now complained about that. You don't treat people who are presumed innocent as if they have been convicted of mass murder or mafia organized crime.
He wasn't. He was arrested at the airport, leaving town after he had been given a subpoena that he was supposed to comply with. He was getting on a flight. I mean, it's one thing if they'd have tracked him and there was like a slow speed car chase where they'd swatted him, you know, as he was driving out of the state, you might have something. But if he's getting on a plane so he can leave, so he could, I mean, he could arguably have gone to Nashville, driven to Florida, got on a flight down there and split out of the country, in theory, and hung out there until this was just untenable for the committee, and then come back and said, I thought I had executive privilege, and by that time everybody had moved on. And Trump couldn't pardon him from jail.
That's the way they've been treating people like Navarro and others who...
There are no people like Navarro and others.
...resisted unconstitutional attempts to get them to testify over privileges.
Yep.
No, they were constitutional. This is idiocy. No.
Professor,
these are treasonous behaviors, and that he's being questioned about. And either you come in and plead the fifth, which you absolutely have the right to do, or you fuck off. You go to jail, or you tell the truth.
His lawyer is arguing that no one in his client's position has ever been prosecuted with criminal contempt of Congress for following a presidential directive. Is that a strong...
Following a presidential directive? What do you mean, not to talk? There is no such protection.
Argument here?
It is. I think it is. I think that a court should rule in his favor and dismiss the indictment. But if it doesn't and he goes to trial, the idea of getting a fair trial in the District of Columbia, if you're supporting Trump when close to 90% of the people in the District of Columbia are Democrats, will make it very difficult to get a fair trial. And so a number of people who...
Well, especially if you're as creepy as Navarro.
Probably aren't guilty, have been...
Sorry, Navarro.
Guilty.
Navarro, I'll call him.
Because they know they can't get a fair shake in the District of Columbia. And under our system of sentencing, you get sentenced not for the crime you committed. You get sentenced for the arrogance of going to trial. Normally, people will get 1 year for the crime and then an additional 9 years
for fighting it. Right. That's where and nobody gets 1 to 9. You don't get a year for the crime if you're going to get 10 years. 9 of them aren't because you fought the case. 9 of them are because you killed somebody or beat the snot out of them to steal something. And the 1 year added on is because you wasted the court's time.
Pleading not guilty. There's something
bullshit.
Very, very wrong with that system. And to his credit.
Well, it doesn't exist. It would be wrong. It doesn't exist. That's nonsense.
President Trump commuted the sentences of a number of people who were affected by that trial penalty. I represented several of them. A guy got 75 years because he didn't plead guilty. Had he pleaded guilty, he would have gotten 5 or 6 years, and President Trump commuted that.
Oh, so Trump jumped in and saved your client from you. So he was guilty. You talked him into not pleading guilty because as a client, you make more money off of him during the trial. And then he got a shit ton of years. And also, nobody gets 5 versus 75. Nonsense.
Sentenced to what he should have gotten had he not been sentenced for going to trial.
Professor Dershowitz, I want to ask you about your...
Is full of shit.
...book that's just come out this week. The Price of Principle. The name alone is very...
Oh, he's holding it up. The promo code is Coffee7.
Profound, given today's political climate. Tell us about your book and why do you think partisanship is being rewarded in today's culture?
Well, I got a letter today saying that somebody on the beach was reading one of my books, and a guy came over to him and said, "Are you reading a book by Dershowitz?" And he said, "Yes," and he punched him in the mouth. I got
I didn't know your son went to the beach.
That letter today. I'm going to be posting it on Twitter. Recently, there was an event in...
Yeah, because that happened.
Martha's Vineyard of Jewish Democratic leaders. Who is the most Jewish, well-known Democrat on Martha's Vineyard? Me.
Not anymore.
I didn't get invited.
Well, I mean, they can only put up with so much.
Old friends have refused to invite me to concerts.
Well, I would question. I don't question the word old. The second word, I think, is we're going to need some. I'm going to need some evidence. Your Honor, can we have an evidentiary hearing? Yes. No. The defendant keeps referring to these people as friends, Your Honor, and we can't go through trial this way because look, everyone's laughing. This doesn't.
It's because they say if you're invited, no one will show up.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, I think that's good read. So it's not their fault, it's your fault. If you're invited, no one will show up. Can you imagine? That's your lot in life. That's how people view when they're making out the invite cards for a wedding or anything, they get to the D's, they land on your name, and the thought that goes through their head is, if we invite him, no one else will show up.
This includes some very prominent politicians, some very prominent people.
Yeah, who don't want to be seen with you because they got enough fucking problems.
Part of this cancel culture, and they can't.
Cancel culture? Dude, they're afraid of being canceled because they're seen in a photo with you, dummy. They're not caught up in the cancel culture because they're trying to get rid of Dershowitz. They're afraid they'll cancel their own trip to that party if you're there. That's the point. They'll cancel showing up. That's not them stopping you from coming. That's them from going, I can't go. The fucking Dershowitz is hanging out there. What are you out of your fucking mind?
Me because I defended the constitutional right of President Trump, something I'm very proud of having done. I didn't vote for President Trump, but I defended his constitutional right.
Yeah, you only get to vote once. With the impeachment trial, you get to vote every day.
I'm canceled as a result. This is the same Martha's Vineyard community that honors people who have caused the recession of 2008, who have cheated and paid bribes.
Oh, so now I know why you're upset you can't go.
Have voted strongly against other Democratic candidates. But if you have defended President Trump, you're...
Dude, also, why are you going? If that's the case, these are your friends for years. Apparently you were fine with them doing all this shit. Why didn't you leave? What the fuck?
Verboten. You're now a pariah, and my family and I are treated like pariahs. My wife, who had nothing to do with this, didn't even want me to defend President Trump, is treated as a pariah.
Well, that's because you have to come if she goes. If she goes by herself, nobody's going to give a shit. Look at like George and Kellyanne Conway. George can go places. If Kelly shows up, people are like, ugh. Let your wife go someplace without you, maybe.
Saying, oh my God, we saw you pat Mike Pompeo on the back. Yeah, I did. He was my former student. And I congratulated him for to bring about the Abraham Accords, which President Biden is now building on. But as the result...
Building on. Oh, you mean the real, actual treaty? The real, actual benefits of flights going through and to Saudi Arabia, as opposed to fucking Bahrain and UAE?
That we've been canceled, and I'm going to stick to my principles. I don't care how much harm it causes me. I hate...
Well, then don't bitch about it. Don't whinge. If you don't care how much harm it causes you, then there is no harm in that. Also, why would it be harmful to go to some gathering, to not be invited to a gathering full of people who are as awful as you say they are? What the fuck?
That it causes my family harm. I don't care how much harm it causes me. I'm always going to stick to my principle. I've done it for the last 83 years, and I'm going to continue to do.
And keep it to your fucking self. This is a pet peeve of mine, and I know I don't crow about my own successes as often as I should. And I know I'm jokingly arrogant about things, and I'm jokingly confident about things, with people. I'm genuinely confident, but I joke about my accomplishments and like, right again, and that kind of stuff. And I'm kidding around about that kind of stuff. But I certainly don't whinge if I don't get invited to Politicon or some shit like that. I just get on with it. Earn your seat at the table, or recognize it's not a table you want to sit at. The conversation ends there.
as I approach my 84th birthday.
Alan Dershowitz's book's in stores right now. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank
Ugh. Well, at least we got through that one. Yeah, moved to Nantucket. Wasn't this lawyer a guy in an Epstein buddy? Yes, he was. He famously a massage. Let's see. Let's see. Famed defense lawyer Alan Dershowitz, who's represented such high-profile accused killers or attempted killers as O.J. Simpson and Klaus von Bülow, has found himself at the center of the Jeffrey Epstein underage sex trafficking case. In a police affidavit, a woman says she was forced to serve as a sex slave for Epstein, according to New York Daily News, stated under oath that she had sexual intercourse with Dershowitz at least 6 times while she was in Epstein's servitude. A second woman also named Dershowitz as a patron of Epstein's alleged sex trafficking ring, according to the BBC. The second woman said that Dershowitz received a massage at Epstein's lavish Palm Beach mansion, where the prominent lawyer, who has recently become one of the most outspoken defenders of Donald Trump against special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation, was allegedly a frequent visitor. Dershowitz has flatly denied the allegations, but recently, the former Harvard Law School professor added a bizarre new wrinkle to his story, admitting that he had, in fact, received a massage at Epstein's home. Okay, first of all, getting a massage in somebody else's house, unless you are fucking them, and they offer it, and one thing leads to another, which is basically my early 20s, is gross and weird. Why are you going over to another dude's house to get a massage? I call bullshit, especially that guy. Okay. Admitting that he had in fact received a massage at Epstein's home, according to his statements in an interview with Miami's WPLG TV. Dershowitz gave the WPLG interview in April, but the clip went viral this week on Twitter, apparently due to Dershowitz's claim that, quote, "I left my underwear on during the massage." Dershowitz also claimed that in his interview that he never saw young girls during his visits to Epstein's residences. But in her affidavit posted online via the document site Scribd, the woman who claims she had sexual intercourse with Dershowitz at 16 years old, Virginia Roberts Jeffrey, also said that Dershowitz was so relaxed about the sexual activity at Epstein's homes that he would come and chat with Epstein while I was giving oral sex to Epstein. Jesus Christ. Just fuck. Christ almighty. Just gross. That's why you're a pariah, fucko. Nobody buys it. Nobody. That little addendum to the story just means like there's video of you coming and going and that you had to admit to it because somebody else was going to testify that it actually happened, like Ghislaine Maxwell or somebody they couldn't kill. Ugh. Just nasty.